Hey, welcome to Mornings with Meep. This is my first attempt. It's a bit of an experiment. I was inspired by Truth in Accounting's Beer with Bill. Uh, right now, I'm just sticking with the good old Dunkin' coffee. So, what am I going to do? I'm going to take a look back on the last week at my blog, Stump, and talk about what I'm doing here, and then cover perhaps a few things that I didn't manage to blog in the past week. So first, for those who have been reading Stump for a while, this year I have committed to Mondays being a look back at the year 1918. Specifically, I'm reading through a local newspaper, the Brewster Standard, back in 1918. I'm specifically looking for stories that might be indicating the spread of the Spanish flu pandemic. Now, I wasn't expecting it early in the year because actually it's this week that officially 100 years ago the pandemic began. The other reason I'm not really expecting anything, and this will be in tomorrow's post, is that it was deliberately hushed up in the United States. Part of the reason it's called the Spanish flu pandemic is because the Spanish government did not hush up the outbreak of flu, but a lot of other governments did because of World War I. So that's Mondays. Tuesdays, now I didn't really commit to this, but this is what's happened. I've been covering tax issues, specifically the federal tax bill. I can't remember whatever, name it's got. Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, I think. Anyway, there's a lot of cleanup that needs to be done with this bill this year, and then of course there's all the panicked high tax states that are reacting to this. It may last all year, it may go away depending on what happens. But the Monday one I've definitely committed to. Then recently I have switched Fridays over to a roundup of a lot of the public finance and pension stories from the prior week that I didn't get to blogging in the week. Now, I want to let you know that I keep a thread on the actual Outpost, which is a discussion forum. And I actually have multiple watch threads that are just news watch threads. And I specifically have a public pensions thread, and I'll put a link to it in the video notes and then on the blog post where I'm embedding this. So you can check it out for yourself. I very rarely comment in there. I'm mainly copying the stories over, and you'll see a lot of them will pop up on the blog later if I find them of note that I can comment on them. Now, Wednesdays and Thursdays, I don't really commit to anything. It's just as things come up. This past week, on Wednesday and Thursday, I had a post on divestment, specifically with regards to guns in public pension funds, and then the fiscal state of Connecticut. And I have something I didn't manage to get in the blog post this week. Now, the fiscal state of Connecticut, short version, it sucks. And one of the things I haven't been able to grab yet is that Indiana has been advertising in Connecticut now. Let me see if I can get this without the light. Called StateThatWorks.com. This ad campaign actually has been going on for some years. The billboard you see here was one that ran in Illinois in 2014, and someone got a picture of it. Well, there has been at least two billboards in Connecticut, and it's on my commute on I-84. And I've seen one in Hartford, and I think I see one like between Waterbury. I'm trying to remember the exact billboard, but it always makes me laugh every time I see it. I haven't been able to get a picture of it because usually I'm going at a pretty fast clip when I'm seeing them. And I did just buy a dash cam, and I'll see if I can get it, but probably not. But I thought it was funny. Most of the StateThatWorks.com campaign from Indiana is attempting to get people to move to Indiana, and businesses specifically, businesses. It looks like that they're really focusing on the states bordering Indiana, but they have pulled as far as Connecticut, which I think is very interesting. So finally, I am posting this video on YouTube, so if you're reading this in the blog, you can click on it, and I'll put a link to the video directly if your software doesn't work that well. This gives you an opportunity to comment. I will not necessarily read your comments. I generally don't read YouTube comments on any videos for very good reasons. There's a lot of spam. If you want to get in contact with me directly, if you have any corrections to make. And a lot of people sent them. I'm going to put them in the blog post that this video is in from prior to the week. I love getting corrections. You know, I prefer being correct. I don't need to be correct the first time. And email me. I do read my emails. I might not respond to them, and I might not respond to them rapidly. My email is marypat.campbell@gmail.com. And as I said, I try to be accessible, but I don't like moderating comments. So whatever you guys do on this video, not my problem. Anyway, I've got to finish off my coffee and see if I can get this to post. See y'all next week.